Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob. We love it because you get involved. You give us your questions, we give you some answers, and we all go away feeling better for the experience. But let's keep the show on the road. You need to keep those questions coming in. So Rob, how can they do it?
Dead easy. Just give us a call. 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Leave us a message there, or leave us a message by going to propertyhub.net/ask and using the wonders of modern technology. Either way, make sure you get your question in, just like Ian.
Hi Rob and Rob. First of all, massive thanks to both of you for putting on such a great podcast for no cost at all. I've been listening and of course a member of the Property Hub well over a year now, and I feel like I've learned so much. My clout to the silver lining, of course, is that although I feel like I have the education to get started in property investing, it's my financial situation that's held me back. My goal is to be able to replace my income of property through buying and refurbishing below-market properties and renting these to create a positive cash flow. My current income and living expenses, I can afford to save around about £1,000 a month, which I know is a lot of money to some people. This will still give me at least 2 years away from starting my investment journey. So my question really comes in two parts. First, what type of strategy would you recommend for someone with such a low level of capital starting off? And second, are there any ways of raising finance beyond the traditional mortgage lenders that would lend to 75% loan to value that they would consider to a first-time investor? And I'm conscious of avoiding get-rich-quick schemes. Any help you'll be able to offer will be greatly appreciated. Keep up with the podcast.
Ian, great question. Because there's going to be so many people in a similar situation to you. And it's frustrating, right? 2 years away, you can almost see it, taste it, feel it. You're going to be a property investor, but 2 years feels like the longest time right now. So, should you be a bit more aggressive? Should you push it, bring in some extra finance to top up your mortgage to be able to invest sooner? Well, how could you do that in the first place? Let's discuss that. You could take out a personal loan of some description. You could use credit cards to top up your deposit amount. There are different ways of going about it, and that would potentially get you those extra funds to get you started and investing that little bit sooner. However, as this is your first investment, I would advise against it because you are yet to prove the model. I'm sure, Ian, it will go well for you and you will be a profitable property investor, and that's fantastic, but don't go high risk. You may not want to go high risk at any point. You may feel that's something that's not right for you, but don't do it on your first investment. You do hear of people who've done this and been successful, but the people who've done this and not been successful aren't really talking about it as much because they failed, and there's plenty of people in that boat. So while 2 years feels like a long time at the moment, it will go quickly, and in the grand scheme of property investment, it's a very short period of time. You can be very active after 18 months has passed because those final 6 months, it could take you that long to find and purchase that property. So really, the time frame that you have to wait before you can get active is quite a small one. So I would encourage you to keep educating yourself and slowly start to prepare to become an investor, and in 18 months' time, really push forward. But Rob, I've mentioned a few different types of ways you can finance to start sooner, and there are more ways.
Yes, the one that will come to mind is probably joint ventures, as the one you didn't mention. We talked about that on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. If you can find a family member or a close friend who's got similar goals to you, similar objectives, your strategies are going to be aligned, pooling funds with them can help you get there faster. It does work. We've seen it work before, but it is risky because there's a relationship at stake and you're going to have a very high level of alignment. We've talked about joint ventures a fair bit over the years. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago on Ask Rob and Rob, so go back and listen to that. Or you can also go to the search bar on our website at propertyhub.net, type in joint ventures, and you'll find plenty. But Ian, if none of those options are right, then don't succumb to your frustration. I get it. It is difficult because £1,000 a month is a lot to save. But when that's not enough and it still feels slow, that is a frustrating situation. But as Rob said, put that time to good use, keep on learning, keep planning, and it will fly by faster than you expected. Okay, let's have a listen to our second question. This one's from Justin.
Hi guys, my name's Justin. Thanks for all the great content. Really appreciate all the work you're doing, and have been listening to the podcast for a couple of years and really enjoying it. I have a mortgage-related question. I've just exchanged on my fourth buy-to-let property. A couple are owned in individual names and a couple are through a company I set up recently. I've got fairly ambitious plans for the next few years. My question is there a limit to the number of mortgages one can get? I don't want to find problems when I'm late on in the process of trying to get another property. So just keen to understand if when you reach a certain threshold there are challenges in accessing mortgage funding, etc. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Well, good news for you. No, there are no general limits to how many mortgages you can have. There are people out there with hundreds of mortgages. The only real limit is how much paperwork you can bear. But something that is worth bearing in mind is that each lender will have a limit about how many mortgages you can have with them. The lender might have an actual published limit, like you can only have 3 or 4, or they might just decide when you get to a certain level that it's not in their criteria, but they feel overexposed to you as a single borrower, so they decline to lend anymore. So if there were only a few lenders in the market, this could really constrain you. And still, if you're in a position where, because of your circumstances, for some reason, there are only a couple of lenders who will lend to you, then you will hit a limit at some point. But if you're not constrained in that way, then the good news is right now there are loads of players in the mortgage market, all very keen to lend. So however ambitious your growth plans are, you shouldn't have mortgages holding you back.
So that's us done for another week. 2 questions, 2 answers, and yeah, I feel better for it. Hopefully you do too. And I'll feel even better when it's Thursday because the Property Podcast will be back. And of course, we'll be back next Tuesday with another Ask Rob and Rob. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.